Hey everyone, today I show you how to make an auxiliary gas tank for your motorcycle for cheap. For very cheap. All the things that you want to use for this project. The first one being a water bottle. Now it's very important that you choose the correct water bottle, so I'll explain how to choose the correct water bottle here in a bit. The next thing you want to choose is a screw-in style air valve. This air valve is like a air valve that you find in tires, but this is the screw-in type. So as you can see, it has a nut at the end. You want to choose this type because it'll make installation a lot easier. You want to choose a valve stem removal tool. You want to have that also. Electrical tape. You want to have a step bit. Now this drill bit you're gonna need for sure, so just make sure that this drill bit is bigger than your valve stem. So I'll explain how you're gonna do that here in a bit. And then you also have a drill bit. This is a 1/16 size drill bit, but you can probably do away with this one. You could probably use some other methods of punching a hole in your water bottle. Now another thing you're gonna need is some hose clamps. You're gonna need about 4 of those, so have those handy. As you can see, this one is black. They don't have to be black, but I think it looks nicer once you paint them, so I think I'm gonna paint all of these black. Then you also have a shutoff valve, and you have some 1/4-inch inner diameter fuel hose. You wanna make sure it's fuel hose. Now you can use a clear one, but I like this black one because I think it looks better. It's a little harder to work with. However, I do like the look of it, and well, that's just me, it's preference. You can use the clear one too, but just make sure it's rated for fuel. And then you can also have a hook here. Now this hook, you don't necessarily need. You can hook your auxiliary fuel tank to your handlebars. However, this one will make life easier if you want to hang it on the roof. And a couple of tools you're going to need, just a regular drill, and then you're also going to need some cutting pliers. So yeah, those are all the things that you need here. Now let's choose what water bottle we want to use. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to choose a bottle. You want to choose the correct bottle. Now there's plenty of bottles that you can use, but in my recommendation, I would suggest that you use one of these bottles. This was a free bottle that I got from an organization. I don't know, I guess this was a promotional item that they were giving out. But I got this bottle and I'm gonna make it into an auxiliary gas tank. And the reason I chose this one is because, as you can see, it's flat from the bottom. So that will allow me to place my valve stem right here. And I also like that it came with a little hook, so that way I can hook it onto handlebars or I can hook it on the ceiling. So this is why I chose this one. Now, you can choose one like this if you have one laying around. However, this is a double-walled water bottle. Now this one is actually stainless steel. That one is aluminum, so drilling through that one might be a little bit easier, but this one is stainless steel. And as you can see, it's double-walled. And I didn't find out that it was double-walled until I drilled a hole in it. So, of course, gas came out, and so now you have 2 holes that you have to make, and then you have to make one bigger than the other. It's just not as easy to make one of these. You can still potentially use it, but my suggestion to you is use one that is single walled. So if you're out there, even if you want to go to the grocery store or to your nearest store and buy one, I would suggest that you get one that is single walled. That way you don't have that issue. Of course, stainless steel and aluminum will work just fine for gas. You just want to make sure that the tops also are hard, plastic or something that will withstand gasoline, right? Now, for some of you that might be thinking, well, I can do that with a regular container. There's some truth to that. You could potentially use one of these bottles that has a handle. Now, if you're gonna use a plastic bottle that you have laying around, that should be okay. However, you wanna make sure that you use one that is plastic labeled number 2. Now, plastic labeled number 2 is basically the ones that have a triangle that have the number 2, and that recycling triangle that has a number 2 in it, that's the one that you want to choose. And if you notice here at the bottom, this one actually has that symbol stamped right to it. So you want to find one that is going to be safe for chemicals. Just make sure you rinse it out properly, remove any labels, and then attach your valve stem. So what we're gonna do first is we're going to drill a hole in this container so that we can attach our valve stem to that water bottle. So let me show you how to do that now. So I'm gonna attach my water bottle to the bottom of my vise, but I wanna protect it, so I'm just gonna use a rag so I can squeeze it in there, so I can drill a hole. Now keep in mind, this is aluminum, so you gotta be careful with it so you don't hold it too hard and damage the bottle. So I think that should be fine. Okay, so now we're ready to drill our hole into our container. Now we're gonna drill a hole right in the center of our container. I might need to hold this. Now make sure that you get a bottle that has a flat center, so it'll be easier for that valve stem to go into. Now notice I don't want to go too fast because, like I mentioned, it is an aluminum bottle, so you don't want to damage it. If you press too hard, you might be prone to damaging it. Now, as you're drilling this, you want to make sure that you go back to your valve stem, and as you can see, you're going to remove the nut from your valve stem. Your valve stem has a small rubber seal here, and you want to be testing it out. As you can see, mine is about to fit, so I don't want to go too big because then it's not going to seal. Just want to make it one step bigger than that. Okay, so now I've made it one step bigger. I'm going to remove this sticker that it has here. Now we're going to try it out again. Okay, there you go. Perfect fit right there. Now you're not going to place it in this orientation. This is actually going to be sticking out the other way like that. But this is how you test and make sure that it is actually going to fit on there. Okay, so now that you drilled a hole in your water bottle, as you can see there is a hole. If you look closely inside, not sure if you're going to be able to see that or not, but there might be some shavings in there, as you can see right in there. So you want to make sure that you put a small file in there so you can clean all those shavings out of your hole. You don't want to have any shavings inside of your hole because then your valve will not seal properly. Now I found the easy way to do this is just to take an Allen wrench and put it inside your hole and then just twist it until you get all of those burrs out, everything that was left from you drilling that hole into your water bottle. So once you have your valve, the next thing you want to do is you want to use a valve removal tool like this one that I have here. Now this removal tool will actually go into your valve and you're going to twist it so you can remove your valve stem from inside. Okay, now that you've removed your valve stem, you should be able to see a hole right through without any valve stem there blocking it. So it should look just like that. So now that you've removed the valve stem from your valve, now it's time to attach the water bottle to your valve stem. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we drill a small hole in the cap of the water bottle so that the gas will be able to siphon out, or so you can utilize it as a breather basically, so that the gas will go down into your motorcycle and not stay in the auxiliary gas tank. Once we have our drill, then we can drill a small hole towards the side of our cap. And let's do that right now. And that's it. That's all it took. So you can see now we have a small hole in that cap. And that cap is going to allow us to let air into the water bottle so that way the gas can drain from the bottom. Now that you have that, we also want to take our electrical tape, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut a small piece. We're going to cut a small piece just like that. We're going to take a piece. Now we're going to fold this piece just a little bit on the edge, just like that. And now this piece we'll be able to grab and put on top of our hole, just like that. So in the future, if you want to remove this, you can just pull it off and put it back on. And it'll be a small way to cap your hole. Now that you have your water bottle ready, now it's time to put it together with your valve. Now to put your valve stem inside your water bottle, you could take the stem and just drop it in there and then try to get it out somehow eventually at one time, but that takes forever. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of rod, metal rod, and you can use a stick or whatever it is you have laying around. You can stick it in through this hole, and then what you get at the end, then you can use a little bit of electrical tape. You don't need too much, just a small piece of electrical tape, just like that. And you put your valve stem here, and you simply put a piece of tape just to kind of hold it in place. Doesn't have to be too much because then it won't fit through the hole. And then all you do is you just slide it out until you get your valve stem on the other side. Well, this one popped out, but you should be okay. So that's what we want right there. Now that we know that the valve is seating properly on the inside, and you can feel that rubber hitting the water bottle surface, then you put in your washer on this side and your nut. Just like that. All right. Now you can use pliers to tighten this up, or you can just use a simple wrench, an adjustable wrench to tighten that up. In this case, we're going to use a simple adjustable wrench. Now keep in mind, the inside of this water bottle should look like that, as you can see there. Now, you don't want to over tighten this, but since there is no nut on the inside, you might notice that the actual valve stem will start to spin. If it doesn't, then great. If it does, then just go ahead and hold it with some pair of pliers or something. You can hold it right here on the threaded end. It doesn't matter, and I'll explain why it doesn't matter here in a bit. But you can hold it here like this, and then you can use the pliers to tighten it up. Now again, you don't want to over tighten the nut because you don't want that seal to break on the inside. Okay, so now you have it. Now you have your valve like this, and the next step, once it's attached on there, The next step is to bring your hose. Now it's time to attach our fuel hose to our auxiliary gas tank. Now I like to use the black one because I know this is rated for fuel and it's gonna last longer. What I can do is I'll attach a clear fuel filter to this. So that way I know that there is actually fuel coming out of my auxiliary gas tank. Now you could put a clear hose, however, I don't know that those last longer. And of course, if you're gonna store fuel there for a while, it might not work that great. Another thing to mention is you want to put your shutoff valve, this shutoff valve, you wanna put it at the end of your hose. If you don't put it at the end of your hose, then you're going to have a lot of fuel spilling because you're gonna have excess fuel in that fuel line. So you don't want that. You wanna make sure that it's further at the end so that when you shut it off. Now keep in mind, if you do have gas in your line, which is gonna be this line, this one is rated for fuel. So that means that if there's gas that stays in here, that's gonna be fine, nothing's gonna happen. So let's attach that fuel hose to the auxiliary gas tank. Okay, so now it's time to attach the fuel hose to our auxiliary gas tank. Now the fuel hose here, as you can see, a 1/4-inch diameter hose will fit right into this valve stem. So you just press it in there, kind of wiggle it in there, all the way in as much as you can. Now it does get thicker towards the top, so you're not gonna be able to go all the way to the top. Once you do that, either you can put your hose clamp before you do that, or like me, I'm doing now is I'm putting it in through the hose and I'm simply going to attach it with a flathead screwdriver. You could use a different style hose clamp, but this is what I had laying around, so I've chosen to use this style for now. Okay, you don't want to over tighten it either, since these don't have pressure going to them, so that's what you should end up with. Okay, our next step is to put in our inline fuel shutoff valve. This one goes right in here. Now again, I prefer the metal ones over the plastic ones, but if this is all you have, like me, you can just use this. Again, once you do that, put your clamp in place. Your hose clamp. Okay, attach that. Then lastly, you attach your other side. Of course, don't do it like me where I forget to put in the hose clamp first, but you put in your hose clamp for the other side. You attach it. Now again, you can paint these to match the black rubber hose. This one's actually a Phillips. So you can paint them black. In this case, just to show you all, I'm just gonna leave it the same color. It's a smaller. Try this one. Okay, so there we go. That is on and off. Okay, so now that you've attached your shutoff valve and your hose to your auxiliary gas tank, all you have left to do now is to attach it to your sealing using the cap at the end. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, now so if you're going to attach your hook to your sealing, then yes, you would need one of these that kind of goes all the way into your sealing and goes into the 2x4 studs on your sealing, because you want something that can hold this much gas. You don't want to have something that won't hold that much gas, because yeah, it might fall and hit your face or something. For me, I'm gonna attach it to this bracket here over my workbench. That'll be fine for me, so I'm just gonna attach it here. I'm gonna have it hanging there, and that should be enough support. Okay, so there you have it. This is where I'm going to attach my auxiliary fuel cell or fuel tank or whatever you want to call this. And as you can see, it goes down here, and it has the hose clamps with the shutoff valve over here. Now this should be enough for me to be able to park my motorcycle here and attach it to it. But if you want to place that on your roof, like I mentioned, you're gonna have to get one of those type of screws to put it on your roof. Now I'm not sure why, but I was looking online for a video that showed somebody making one of these in this way to see if they had any good results with it, but I couldn't find anything, so I decided to just make one myself. I hope people can benefit from this, and honestly, I mean, it's a great idea. I hope you guys can try it out. I hope this helps somebody that's maybe needing one. Now I know they're about $20 on Amazon, but of course you have to wait, and they might not look as cool as this. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Drop your suggestions in the comments. If you have a better way of making one of these that we can learn from. Aside from that, hit that subscribe button, help me out. Any subscription goes a long way. I just started my channel, so I want to make sure that everybody subscribes so that we can keep sharing content like this. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.